Your brand new iPhone deserves the best protection, and the iLune 3-pack screen protector plus 3-pack camera lens protector has you covered. Don't take risks with your iPhone. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Survival guides, mass evacuations, huge bunkers, and conscription. How the whole of Europe is preparing for World War III. Europe is gearing up for World War III and is preparing survival guides, nuclear bunkers, and implementing conscription to survive a possible invasion by Russia. The continent is rearming, as it fears Vladimir Putin is only years away from a war to push NATO out of Eastern Europe and rebuild the Russian Empire. The EU believes Russia could attack at some point around 2030 if it is successful in Ukraine, and the Commission has said the bloc must prepare for a large-scale war with Moscow. Countries are preparing their citizens for a brutal fight, with calls for Britain to join the European nations already conscripting their people into growing armies. Civilians are also being prepared if Russian tanks roll down boulevards and paratroopers drop onto squares. France is the latest country set to issue an invasion survival how to guide for its citizens. The 20-page booklet will give advice to French civilians on how, in the face of an invasion, to defend the Republic by signing up to reserve units or local defense efforts. It will also have tips on how to create a survival kit with essentials including 6 liters of water, canned food, batteries, and basic medical supplies. Earlier this week, Macron revealed that French fighter jets equipped with a new generation of hypersonic nuclear missiles are now stationed on the border with ally Germany. The Germans sit under the protection of the Gallic nuclear umbrella, something which Poland now also wants. Warsaw is looking at getting nuclear weapon protection from either Paris or Washington, D.C., and is set to implement conscription for all men. The Baltics and Nordic countries are keenly aware of the threat Russia poses, with all having some form of conscription already in place. Norwegian officials are preparing for mass evacuation drills for its citizens in some of its most northern towns. The country, which shares a 121-mile border with Russia in the Arctic, is hosting a NATO exercise next year and wants civilians to also take part. Locals would have to flee westward or south into Finland in order to escape the imaginary advancing Russian troops. Mayor Toralf Heimdall said, "We cannot have a single Norwegian on the wrong side of the occupation line." Nordic citizens have also already been provided with terrifying war survival guides. In November, pamphlets landed in Swedish homes eerily titled, "If Crisis or War Comes," while other nations issue their own chilling advice to fearful citizens. Meanwhile, neighboring Finland has published its own chilling advice online to prepare for incidents and crises. Norwegians also received a pamphlet urging residents to know how to manage on their own for a week in the event of war. In summer, Denmark's Emergency Management Agency put out a warning to Danish adults detailing the water, food, and medicine necessary to get through 3 days of crisis. Sweden and Finland recently gave up neutrality to join NATO after witnessing the atrocities Putin has unleashed in Ukraine since 2022. Germany's World War III preparation plans have already been revealed in a 1,000-page secret document dubbed Operation Deutschland. According to the Frankfurter Allgemeine, the top-secret papers reveal specific buildings and infrastructure facilities that need specific protection in an emergency for military reasons. The government is also drawing up a list of bunkers that could provide shelter to civilians. The Interior Ministry announced underground train stations, car parks, state buildings, and private properties could all be harnessed for protection. Berlin is also reportedly prepared to move 200,000 vehicles, as well as the 800,000 NATO troops across its territory, if the situation with Russia turned to all-out war. The Baltics are building a joint defense line on their border with Russia that will have some 600 bunkers across each border. It will also include tank ditches, forests, dragon's teeth, hedgehogs, and rocket systems. Poland and the Baltics have also withdrawn of an international treaty banning anti-personnel landmines as they prepare to stop an advancing Russian army in its tracks. The EU has also started a colossal spending plan to rebuild its armies and support Ukraine. The bloc is set to spend as much as 800 BN euro, 500 BN on defense, as it prepares for its long-term defense. Europe is eyeing building a drone shield from the Baltic to the Black Sea as it looks to deter a Russian invasion and make the possibility too painful for Putin to consider.